Now let's take a look at this scenario for a second. Imagine, if you will, that you're looking at your personal economy. Now, your personal economy is made up of all of your income, all of your investments, any kind of assets that you own, anything, any savings that you may have, your home, everything. Okay? As money flows into your personal economy and it comes into this income tank here, the challenge that we have, because of how we've been taught, trained, and educated on how to operate around the concept of making money, keeping money, and growing money, the typical scenario looks like this. We get paid, the money comes in either monthly or quarterly or however the money comes into your personal economy. The first area that we lose our money is through taxes. That's a huge transfer of wealth. And we'll look at exactly how much money that is for all of us. The second place that we most commonly lose our wealth is just in paying for our overhead expenses. Now, those overhead expenses can be in the form of business expenses. They can also be in the form of lifestyle expenses. And those are all kinds of things. Those are things like your housing expenses, your car expenses, education, food, fuel, entertainment, travel expenses, everything that you can imagine. All right. Now, the more we spend on our lifestyle, the more we transfer our wealth. And so the goal here is now to maybe squeeze down this pipe here and lower the amount of money that we're actually transferring. Now, in order for us to do that, that means that by definition, we're going to have to divert some of that capital, some of that money coming in. But before we go down that road, let's take a look at how much wealth we actually transfer in the form of taxes and other things. You know, if you're looking at a current 35-year-old person, business person that just started out, you know, let's say they're making six figures. Let's say they're making $120,000 a year. That's what they take home every single year. And we can expect that income, that revenue, to grow by about 3% based on inflation. Hopefully, they're keeping up with inflation and paying themselves 3% more per year. And let's pretend that they have maybe, $50,000 in savings somewhere. Now, typically what happens for business owners is we get screwed up in the head and we start to think that instead of investing in ourselves, our number one asset being us and our number one investment being our business, we start to look for the magical ATM somewhere else. And so we set up SEPs and IRAs and 401ks for our business. And worst mistake we can make as a business owner or entrepreneur. But look at how much money we're talking about. In the span of just 30 years, between age 35 and 65, you're looking at $5.7 million of income flowing through your personal economy, flowing through that income tank. Okay? So the first question I have for you is, how are you capturing and controlling that $5.7 million? And then when you add this $50,000 in savings, growing at 6%, the number just becomes staggering. $14.3 million in wealth that is flowing through your personal economy. How are you capturing and controlling that? You see, it's one thing to make that kind of money or to create that kind of wealth. It's an entirely different conversation to keep that money and grow that money. So how are you keeping the money and how are you growing the money? And so if you don't have a system that where you can keep the money and grow the money, typically what happens, especially as business owners and entrepreneurs, is right off the bat, we're paying quarterly taxes. And so between federal and state and local and real estate and property taxes and income taxes, you're paying over 35, you're actually paying over 50% of your gross income in just taxes. But let's take a look at what 35% of taxes, 35% of your income in taxes looks like. That's a tremendous amount of wealth being transferred and lost and gone forever. Almost $5 million in taxes alone. Now, let me ask you a question. If I could write you a check right now for $5 million, in other words, let you keep your tax dollars, what would you do with that money? Would you save the money? Would you spend the money? Would you invest the money? I'm sure you'd do a combination of all three. But think about how you would operate as a person, as a human being, if you had $5 million and you added that to your bottom line. What kind of vacations could you take your family on? What kind of investments could you make in your business and expansion and growth of your business with an additional $5 million of capital? What would your charitable contributions look like? How would this allow you to give back in a more meaningful way? Now, we haven't even gotten started, and already you're starting to see the challenges that we have as business owners and entrepreneurs in not just making the money, but in keeping the money and growing the money. We're facing an uphill battle, and the reality is that the solutions that are available to us right now are geared for the 9-to-5ers. They're not geared for you. They're not designed for you, the entrepreneur, the business owner. They're designed for the 9-to-5er. Let's keep going. Let's take a look. Debt service. If you were to go out and qualify for a new home loan today, you're looking at a maximum allowable debt service of 35% of your gross income. Same is true for your business. If you go out for a business loan today to expand and grow your business empire, the most they'll let you borrow is 35% of your gross revenue. And so again, you add that to the total, now you're looking at almost $9 million going out the door. Lost and gone forever, just in taxes and servicing your debt over time, right? The rest of it is all lost in overhead expenses. That goes for employee costs, marketing, inventory, real estate, expenses, rental expenses, all of that stuff. And you can see very quickly, without any ability to start saving for the future, to keep that money and grow that money, you're looking at transferring over $14 million in the next 30 years. Now, 120 grand might not seem like a lot of money to you. I know that there are some of you out there that are making a lot more than that each year. But $14 million of wealth gone and lost forever that you could have, if you had made the decision to, you could have taken action and captured that and protected that, added that to your bottom line. I mean, that makes my stomach turn. What could you do with that kind of capital? What would your life look like if you were able to retain and keep that money and grow that money?